All right, so here is one of the hardest examples, I think the hardest types of problems. These are called mixture problems. And you can read here, but the idea is these mixture problems always you're taking two things and combining them to make a third thing. And a third thing you want some sort of attribute to be the case. So like the investment problem, that's one of the examples in the book, is kind of a mixture problem, even though you're not really mixing anything. You're investing at one interest rate, you're investing at another interest rate. You want to know how do you combine the two to get a certain interest rate. Here you're investing, or like you're investing, you have, well, you guys can read this, but basically you want to obtain a 10% mixture. And how these often work is that you've got a bunch of stuff that is going to add up. Okay? The number of gallons will add up. The amount of actual ethanol within the liquid will add up. So usually a couple different things are adding up. So for instance, well, actually, let me start at the beginning. Like we said, one of the first goals is to figure out, let's get some equations or some variables that represent the stuff you're interested in. And really the only unknown, or an unknown that makes the most sense to use for the variable is how many gallons. So this is going to equal x. Okay? So the first thing you're interested, like the simplest thing that's adding up here is the number of gallons. So you have 1,000 gallons of the fluid, and then you're going to add X gallons to it. So how the book does it, and this is kind of pretty standard, it's a nice little organizational tool. You just make a table. And your first column is going to be the amount of gallons of things that are being added in. So you have gallons of gasoline, gallons of ethanol, and then the number of gallons of the mixture. And so, ta-da, it's right there. So there's 10,000 gallons of gasoline. There's X gallons of ethanol. And then when you combine them, well, if you just add them together, so literally that's what you do. You add them together, X plus 10,000 gallons. So that's how many gallons there are. And so that's the first column. That's a good start. Now, these are hard because there's a few steps to figure out what the heck the equation even is that you then in turn have to solve. And so one thing you have to realize here is that the other thing that's adding up is the amount of ethanol. And how do you figure out the amount of ethanol? The amount of ethanol is the number of gallons of fluid times the percent ethanol. Okay? So we've got the amount of fluid, right? This is the amount, the amount of whatever. The amount of, their label is kind of wrong here. It's the amount of gasoline, that's not really true. The amount of the mixture, I guess. Whatever the fluid is, that's this first column. So it's always amount of fluid times percent. Okay, so the second column they have here, and it's frequently some situation like this, is just what are the percents. So what are the percents? Okay, well, gasoline is no ethanol, so that's going to be 0. Ethanol is 100% ethanol, so it's going to be 1. And your mixture, and this is the one that's tricky right here. Oh, I switched to the mouse, and you can tell as bad as I am with the tab of boom, and then that goes right there. Okay, that is the amount of the mixture is supposed to be 10%, and so boom. The gasoline is 0% ethanol. The ethanol is 100% ethanol, and the mixture is supposed to be 10%. So I've got too much gobbledygook up here. So boom. Anyway, so 10,000 gallons is 0% ethanol. X gallons is 100% alcohol, and then this X plus 10,000 gallons is supposed to be 10% alcohol. Okay, and so the last column is the actual amount of ethanol. So the amount of ethanol is this right here. That's what I represented by this thing here. And so this amount should be the amount of fluid, so it'd be gasoline, ethanol of the mix, times the percent ethanol in that particular thing. So 0, 100, 10. And so you just multiply straight across. So it's, oh, my thing started going weird. Let me fix it. So it's 1,000 times 0, or 10,000 times 0, X times 100%, and this business times that. Now, these looks like these are x's, and that's horrible. But this is multiplication, is what I'm saying here. So 10,000 times 0 is, drum roll please, well, it's 0. Okay. X times 100% ethanol is 100x. Okay, yeah, not 100x. This is in percent, so duh. Boop, 1.00. So 1.00 times x is x. And then 10% times this business for the amount of ethanol in the mixture gives you that. And so the last idea is, well, it's right here, okay? But the things that you're mixing together, the amount of ethanol in what you put together should be the amount of ethanol after all is said and done. So that's where they get well, this is the amount of ethanol in the gasoline. Okay, I'm going to write out the exact same thing they're writing out, but I'll explain why, where they get it from the whole time. So there's no ethanol in the gasoline. There's X amount of ethanol in the ethanol, and then that should total the 10% of the combo. X plus 10,000. Okay, and so solve this. This is what I am likely to check in your do now. Solve this. Figure out what that is, and that would answer the question. Okay, good. Make sure I didn't actually include that in what I put up here. So solving this for x, and so I'll even start you off for the heck of it. I'm in a good mood. X, well, I'm not in that good of a mood because it's messing up. X equals 0.1x plus, well, this works out to be 10% of 10,000 is actually 1,000. Okay, and then it's decimally, and yuck, I can't force you to not use a calculator because you can do this at home. But you can solve that for x. It's actually kind of similar to one of the quiz questions, maybe a little harder. But yeah, try to finish this off, and I may very well check this as the new now tomorrow class.